Now, Brendol Hux is one of the more evil Imperial villains in the expanded lore. As you might have guessed, he's actually the father of Armitage Hux, played by Donald Gleason in the sequel trilogy. They did a great bit of casting here, and if you think the pair look similar, it's because Brendol's actually played by Donald's real-life brother Brian. Now, Hux started off as a junior officer in the Grand Army of the Republic, and he was a character that greatly admired the ways of the Jedi. He saw them as warriors who took children from a young age and trained them to become soldiers that kept order throughout the galaxy. Working his way up the military, he saw firsthand how ineffective Stormtroopers could be, and the Jedi had given him the idea that children should be trained from a young age. He believed that enlisting children from birth would not only create loyalty to the Empire, but that it would also make it so they had a lifetime of training to mold them into the perfect combatant. This is why we saw in the likes of Finn how he'd been taken when he was very young, and it was something his Shadow Council constantly tried to put in place. Now, this idea that kids had to be a certain way is something that's carried over to his personal life too. We know at one point that he was married to a woman called Marital, but the man was playing around on the side, and he ended up having Armitage illegitimately with a kitchen woman. We have some, it says kitchen woman in the wiki, not my phrasing. Now we have some flashbacks of how he treated Hux Jr. in the comics, and it's clear that he viewed him as a disappointment. Brendel was abusive towards him, and this is probably what spurred Armitage on to end up the way that he did in the First Order. We're kind of unsure of all the ins and outs dealings that Brendel had with the First Order, but we do know that he oversaw the training program carried out by Captain Phasma. However, deep down she secretly hated him, and along with Armitage, they conspired to take him out. Getting an untraceable poison, she injected Brendel with a toxin, and it slowly started to kill him from the inside out. Going to medical droids for help, they found themselves unable to treat him because of their lack of knowledge concerning exactly what was wrong with him. He resigned himself to back to them again, and this is where he withered into nothing. In the end, he dissolved away in it, down to his atoms, only leaving behind some organs, a tuft of grey hair, and a couple of bones. Armitage helped to sow the seeds of doubt with what happened to him, and he pushed the narrative that Brendel had travelled into further reaches of the galaxy on an exploration mission. Whether this is brought into future parts of the Disney Plus show or not remains to be seen, but we do know that he's working on resurrecting the Emperor. Titled Project Necromancer, this is a cloning program that will allow one to create duplicates, which can possess midichlorians and therefore wield the Force. This has been the endgame all along, and it's why the client was so desperate to get his hands on Grogu all the way back in the first episode. Dr. Pershing, of course, wore the cloner's badge, and if you've been keeping up with the Bad Batch, then you'll know that cloning was a big part of that too. They are very much attempting to create an heir to the Empire, and also a thorn in the side of the Republic.